everyone, welcome back to Sweet Yellow House. Today we are having a bit of fun using some old thrifted items and completely changing the look of them or using them in different ways. Stick around till project 6. It was my favorite. So today we are starting off with these plaques. They're the same, they're a set, but two are the same, and the other two are the same. So I'm going to start off by just cleaning these off. They're quite dusty. I've had them for quite a while. I got them from the Goodwill. I think for all of them I paid $4.50. So after I got those cleaned off, I'm going to grab my Dixie Belle chalk mineral paint in Terracotta. I'm going to add a little bit of baking soda to this, not a whole lot, just enough to give it a little bit of texture, and mix that around, and I'm going to start painting these plaques front and back. These are made out of plastic, so the paint should stick fairly well to it. I am using a pouncing motion so that I can get into all of those details. So once I have the first coat on, I'm actually going to dry that with my embossing gun. So once that's all dry, I start on my second coat and then again go back and dry that with my embossing gun. I did do the back of these. Like I said, these are plastic, and I just wanted to make sure that everything had a good coverage to it and all of that weird brown orangey mustardy color was covered up. So I ended up doing 3 coats front and back to make sure I have full coverage, and this is what they look like. Now I'm going to take my Jolie clear finishing wax and I'm going to do a coat over all of these 4 plaques front and back. I am using a little bit of a stiffer brush just to make sure that I can get all of that wax in between those little details. After I have that on there, I didn't even wipe it off. I just left it there, and I'm going to grab my DIY white wax and begin pouncing that into all that detail. I'm not worried about the white wax drying up because, like I said, I still have that Jolie clear wax underneath, so I know it's not going to stick there or be hard to remove. Once I have that completely covered in that center, I'm just wiping it back to see what kind of look I'm going to get. I'm happy with that, so I just go ahead and proceed to finish that out with the white wax. I struggled with this because I didn't know what to do to it to change it. I didn't want it to look like plastic, so I saw some of these type of plaques I think on Pinterest, and they were actually terracotta, and I thought this would be a good contender for that. So this is what they look like before, and this is what they look like after. I'm going to keep a set for myself just because I love them so much, but I am going to put a set for sale on my website. Speaking of that, I did add quite a bit of my projects to my website for sale, so if you haven't gotten notified for that, you might want to go over there and check it out. Project number 2 is this cute little chicken, I think it's a napkin holder, or it might be, a mail holder. I'm not quite sure, but nevertheless, I've had this for quite a while, so I'm going to start off by cleaning it up and wiping it down to get all the dust off of it. Then I'm going to grab my folk art chalk paint in cottage white, and I'm going to do 2 coats just so that I can hide all of that design that's already on there, and I'm going to dry those coats in between with my embossing gun. Once I have that second coat done, I grab my Fusion French eggshell in this incredible blue. I've been using this a lot lately. You saw me use it on my last video, and I'm going to give this little chicken a coat of that, also drying in between with my embossing gun. I grabbed some of this transfer set that I have left over. You can see I have odd and ends here, and this is the IOD transfer set, the Wild Bloomin'. So I just grabbed some odd and ends from that, and I proceed to start applying those all around that little chicken. Just kind of using bits and pieces and taking off what I don't need and kind of trimming out just to make things fit. So once I have those all applied, I'm just grabbing a little sanding block and just kind of sanding back some of that so that white will show through. And once I have that all set, then I grab my Jolie finishing wax and clear, and I'm going to give this little chicken a coat of that to seal in all of that transfers that I put on. I go ahead and wipe that back, and once again I'm going to grab my DIY white wax, and I'm going to go ahead and go over the whole chicken with this. And this is just to kind of give it a little bit more color and to bring back some of that texture and stuff in there. This bird has like little grooves and parts of it like carved out. I'm not sure if it's made out of wood or what, but it has a lot of detail besides just the transfers on there. So I'm going to grab my DIY dark wax. I'm going to mix a little bit of that in with the white wax that's left on my little palette there, and then add a little bit of the clear wax just to kind of bring that dark wax back and kind of it takes on kind of like a grayish, really light grayish, because I just kind of want to bring out some of those details like in the eye and around the other carved little details that are on there. So I just go ahead and use a small brush and put that wax and then wipe it back. It's not a lot, it's just enough for you to notice the other little details on this bird besides just the transfers that are there. This is so cute. To me, it's like such a simple transformation, but it looks so different from what it started as. And I think this would look so lovely on even a desk, a writing desk, just to put some letters in or something, or even just to hold like a little picture or something like that. So project 3 is this tin little, I think it's like I use it as a tray. I think it is a tray. I got it from I think World Market several years ago. So I'm going to start off by cleaning that off. I'm going to grab the Folk Art Rose Pink in this matte acrylic paint, and I'm going to do a couple of layers on this little tray. This little tray is it was kind of slick. I started kind of wondering if it was going to stick to that. So I just did a couple of coats, dried it in between. I actually let it sit overnight and then came back and tried to scratch it off, and it made a pretty good adhesion to that. So I did the second coat. Then I'm actually going to turn that around and do the back of the tray as well. So I grabbed the IOD transfer set in the Rose Botanical. I'm going to pick out a couple of transfers that I like out of this. What I'm making from this is a little kind of like is like a little propagation station, I think they're called. It's like when you have clippings of plants and stuff and you put them in a little kind of vial of water to get those roots going. So this was kind of my idea for this. So before I stick those transfers down, I am going to use the Sweet Pickins top coat in gloss and give this little tray 2 coats of that, drying in between each coat. And I am doing front and back for that. I will say, I think that if I had to do it over again, I would have used a different color. Maybe even going back to that French eggshell. I don't know, the pink just after it was all said and done was a little much for me. I'm not I think I was just kind of in that groove of using pink. So I had it out, so I used it. I had bought a couple of samples of different colors and just decided to try those out. So I have these little vials, and these I got from the dollar store, so I'm just opening those up and setting them down where I think I want to put these. And I decide that I'm going to go ahead and do a little wrap around the center of these vials with twine. And I have a couple of reasons for this. And one is because I think that the glue would stick better to the tray with the twine on there, and I'm just using this Loctite super glue and putting it down and then kind of wrapping it. So once I have all of those wrapped, what I'm going to do then is glue these together with the Loctite. So you see here I'm just putting down a layer of glue and then I'm sticking them all together. And once I have them stick together, then again I just kind of stick some more glue in between there so that they're holding really well. And just to give it a little bit more support and to make it look like a little bit more as a thought, like it was supposed to be there, I'm going to wrap these together and just tie a little knot in the front of them. I really like this idea. I think that I think because my mind is in the gardening state right now, and I am propagating a lot of cuttings that I've gotten from around my yard, I think this, for me, I just wanted to make something for myself that I could use, that I could put in my gardening area that would look really cute and pretty. Like I said, if I had to do it all over again, I probably would have picked like maybe a green, like a light green, maybe like Farm Fresh from DIY or something like that. The pink is just a little much for me now that I'm looking at it. So, but I think that the twine kind of brings that back, and the transfers kind of bring some of that color back as well. So once I have that wrap there, I'm just going to cut down those ends, and then just using my glue gun, my Gorilla Glue gun, and a little bit of that Loctite, I am going to glue those down to the tray. I know using this, dealing with water, after I thought about it, I probably wouldn't have glued those down. I might have done maybe like a Velcro or something like that. But I thought, well, even if I decided to sell this, using it to just display some of little clippings of faux flowers, artificial flowers or whatever, then you can definitely do that, and you would still get the same effect. So I did use that Loctite to put the hanger on the back, and then I'm just gluing back these little rubber protection circles that were on there. I just put the two back at the bottom. So here you see I'm gluing down those sets of little vials, and I think between the hot glue and the Loctite, they're on there really well. So this is what I started with, and this is how it turned out. Like I said, very cute. It's a cute idea. I might do something along this lines, maybe in a different way, but the thought is there of an idea, and I think just putting even just little artificial clippings in there is really cute as well. So project 4 is this wall pocket, this tin wall pocket that I received as a gift. And again, I'm going to go back to that folk art rose pink matte paint, and I'm going to give this a a couple of coats. I am kind of watering this down with a little bit of thinning it out with a little bit of water, just because I want it to go on that tin a little bit smoother. So just using my brush, I'm not going to cover the whole thing. I'm leaving the edges in that tin color, and I am going to leave the inside of it, you see that back part, in tin as well. So I do a couple of coats front and back, drying that between coats with my embossing gun. So once I have those coats completely done and dry, I do grab the Sweet Pickins top coat in gloss, and I go over the front and back, doing 2 coats on each side and drying that with my embossing gun. I really like the matte look of this, of the pink, and I kind of struggled between, you know, covering it or sealing it and not, but I thought maybe if somebody bought this, they might use it, you know, for flowers, or maybe on their door or something like that. So I just really didn't want to take a chance of that, so I went ahead and sealed that paint in. I did grab the IOD Gilded Transfers, the petite ornaments. I grabbed something out of that I really like. So here you just see me kind of putting some looks together that I think I might like. I also used a transfer out of the Rose Botanical pack, and I'm just kind of seeing what I like. That's normally what I do. I'll put something down and just kind of go back and forth until I decide on what I think will look good. So once I have those picked out, I just trim it really close to the edge. To me, I know a lot of people are like, why do you do that? But I do it because it gives me more of a sense of what it's going to look like. And I don't have to kind of like wonder if it's going to line up. It's just a habit I have. It makes my eye look at it easier without all of the extra stuff around it. So once I have that transferred, I grab the transfer from the Rose Botanical, and I'm just kind of fitting that in there. I realize that I need to trim some of it off the bottom, so I just go ahead and do that, and then I just apply that transfer right over that gilded transfer. I really love this look. You've seen me do this a couple of different times in my past couple of videos, and I just love the way that gold looks against, you know, all of the pastels of the flowers and stuff like that. It just looks beautiful to me, and it just says spring. So I just go ahead and apply that down, and then that little piece that I cut off the bottom, I just trim off a little of that and then apply that down towards the bottom over that gold gilding. I just thought it looked a fuller, prettier there. So that's how that turned out. And then I had this little label here, and I'm just trying to see how I want to put that. So I decide that I'm going to go ahead and put it on top, because the bottom narrows and it just was too long and it would have wrapped around to the back, so of course that would have looked not right. So I decided to put it overhead and line it up really well, make sure that it's straight, and then I applied that as well. So once I have all of those applied, I'm gonna grab my Sweet Pickins again in the gloss, and I'm gonna give this a couple of coats, drying that between coats with my embossing gun. And like I said, I'm just going to go ahead and do this instead of wax because I want to make sure that those transfers are really adhered and protected. I'm sorry if you could hear sirens in the background. Obviously, there's something going on out there, so I apologize for that. So this is my before, and this is my after. Our project number 5 are these candle holders, and I've had these for a long time. This is a really quick craft, but I have these WEC canning jars, and I have 2 different kind here, and I just used 2 different kind because I wanted to show you how they would look with different shaped jars. So the only thing that I'm going to do is use this museum wax to kind of keep those jars on top of these candle holders. I didn't want to glue them because I want to be able to take them apart, or maybe even put different jars if I wanted to, something like that. So, but this is a really great idea to do if you have some candle holders that have a big enough base to hold a really nice jar. In these jars you can put candles in if you wanted to. I'm actually going to get some tulips and use mine to put tulips on my table. And you'll see that on my other channel when I do my entryway display. When I display these, I actually just use some artificial flowers and some Easter eggs in here. But this is a really quick flip, or a really quick little craft that you can do if you needed some height for any kind of display that you put into your house, a vignette that you have in your house. And I think that it's not something that's permanent, and you can change these in and out. They make those really pretty blue jars to put on there, and that would be pretty. So it's a quick, easy turnaround that you could take apart and use again. If you needed the jars or needed the candle holders, you can definitely take them apart and just take off that wax. So project 6 is my favorite, and I am gonna have to think really hard if I want to actually sell these or not. But I found a bunch of these frames. These are actually picture frames, and I had a stack of them, and I didn't really know what to do with them, and so I just thought, let me try to use these and do something really creative with them. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually take off the labels and everything like that. I found a couple of these at the Goodwill, but I also found some at Home Goods, and they were marked $10, but I don't think I paid that for them. So I have 4 here. 3 are the same shape. One of them is a little bit different. So I'm grabbing a handful of the IOD transfer sets. These are all the ones that I used. Of course, you can use whatever ones you have, or even cuttings of other things. So I just grabbed a bunch of these and picked out some transfers that I thought would look good together, and I'm using a lot of flowers here and a lot of the gilded transfers. So once I got that all cleaned up, I opened it up, and I'm gonna put this transfer down first. And you can do this in any way you want to. This is just the way I'm doing it. So I put the flower down. It's a larger flower that fills up most of that frame, and then I'm just going to transfer that. And this is technically the inside back part of the frame. So it's almost like a, if you're going to open it up and then put that down. You can put it on the front side of that frame, on the front side of that if you wanted to. I just decided to put it on the inside so I could close it up and it would be protected. So once I have that flower down, I'm going to go ahead and grab some of the gilded transfers and go ahead, and I'm going to apply that right over that flower. Once again, I think that this look, the florals, the color of those flowers against that gold is just gorgeous. I'm just showing you this one, but I am going to show you what I did for all of them, so you'll get to see each one, and they're all very different. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that over that flower, and just make sure that it transfers well. It does transfer on there pretty easily. It's not any harder to transfer it on top of another transfer. So I went ahead and grabbed some more transfers just to kind of put into the corners, just to give it a little bit more sparkle there. Where I'm placing these, it doesn't have any of that other transfer on there. They're just going into the corner, so these are going over regular just glass. I am getting ready to change out some of the artwork in my entryway and do kind of like a collage wall there. So I think that some of these might do the trick in filling up some of that space. So although I really do love this one, I did do 2 others that I think I love more. Tell me what you think and which one of these was your favorite. So this is my favorite. And I love this. This is just so beautiful. Those yellow roses against that gold and that green is just beautiful. This one I really like too, but it's not my favorite, but I do like all of those different colors of that foliage in the back there. And then this one is my favorite. So this one and then the one with the yellow roses I just love. I think I'm going to end up keeping those and listing all the rest of them. So thank you for spending your time with me, and don't forget to go over to my website and check out all of the projects that I uploaded there and see if any of those interest you, if you would like to buy, and let me know what you think. Let me know which of these projects was your favorite, and I will see you soon.